If you've grown up watching Spider-Man movies from the early 2000s and other media past that, you might remember Harry Osborn being portrayed as Peter Parker's best friend. But it's actually more complicated than that. If you read the early comics from Stan Lee's run and some team-up issues, you might notice that Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four, is Spider-Man's true best friend. In fact, he knew the Fantastic Four way longer than Mary Jane, Harry, and Gwen Stacy. It all started with the first issue, Spider-Man vs. the Chameleon. Peter Parker was desperate to make money, so he tried sneaking into the Baxter Building and showed the Fantastic Four his abilities, hoping to join them and they would pay him for helping people. Unfortunately, they said they were a non-profit organization, so he left them. While this first interaction didn't go well, it did create a friendly rivalry between him and the Human Torch, and ultimately, a close friendship. Johnny and the rest of the team have briefly appeared in following issues, like giving him a motivational speech, another battle after taking on the Living Brain, and Spidey and the Torch teaming up to fight the Green Goblin. But here's an issue called Strange Tales Annual 2, where their relationship started to expand. A thief called the Fox and his crew cut the electric wires blacking out the museum. To distract the guards, they go in disguise as repairmen, and they take Fox's boys to show them the fuse box, while he takes the newly discovered Da Vinci painting. As the lights turn back on, the guards find a webbing under the frame, suspecting Spider-Man stole it, but little did they know that Fox actually left a sample to frame him. With the paper spreading all over the city, Spidey decides to ask the Human Torch for help. They start fighting at first, but he tried to explain that he didn't rob the canvas. Use your head, Torch! If I really stole that painting, why would I waste my time trying to convince you? I'd cut out so fast your head would spin. I thought you'd get a kick out of working with me and helping me find the real thief, but I'm through begging. Now you can make up your mind. And then, it occurred to him. Can you tie that? He called me all the things I was calling him. Maybe that costumed clown really is innocent. So much for that icy web. Now my next step is to ask the police to call out the hunt for Spider-Man until I've had a chance to contact him again. At Officer Rudd's house, Johnny borrows a mugshot and shows it to Spider-Man on the Statue of Liberty. To track him down, they arrive at the subway, one of his recent locations, and find a trap door, but no sign of anyone or the painting. Using his spider sense, they find a secret door guarded by Fox's boys, and they tell him that he was headed to Central Park. There, another secret door covered by a water fountain leads them to a man with a large telescope. He tried to run away, but Spidey caught him and unmasked him, revealing it to be the Fox, while Torch undid the telescope and found the painting. On the last panel, they both grab a shoulder as they walk him to the police. In 1972, the very first Marvel team-up issue was released, starring the two once again. During his fight with Sandman, Spidey mentions it's Christmas Eve, and he melded with the remaining Beach to run away. Because he has a date with Gwen Stacy, and the Fantastic Four has went up against him more than Spidey, he went to the Baxter Building to pass the problem to them. Unfortunately, Johnny Storm is the only one there, so they take the Fantastic Car and fly from pinpoint to pinpoint like the George Washington Bridge and the Jersey side. Spider-Man catches a couple thugs mugging a woman, and Human Torch vaporizes snow and ice to give a slipping truck room to hit the brake. Finding Sandman again, he knocks them out and are taken to a water tower, but they break free. Finding him again at a 2-story cottage, they find out that Sandman went to visit his mother. So they gave him 5 minutes, and they spent most of them thinking about their own families that they forgot, and Sandman fled through the sink pipe. Nevertheless, they get on with the holidays while in spirit. In Amazing Spider-Man number 130, Johnny showed him a vehicle called the Spider-Mobile. What's funny is, Spider-Man never knew how to drive, so he had to show him how. There's also a series called Spider-Man and the Human Torch, where it explores the pair's relationship some more, like Torch giving him another driving lesson. During that time, Spidey told him about the death of Gwen Stacy, and he helped him get back on his feet. One time, they had an argument of who does their jobs easier and swapped positions with each other. Spider-Man travels with Reed, Sue, and Ben through dimensional barriers, while Torch investigates the Magia dealing a drug called ZMB. They've even expressed envy for each other. Look at that. When Sue and I were growing up, it was just us. Heck, sometimes I can't even remember my own parents. Being the Human Torch, sometimes I think I'd trade it all just to have something like that. Wonder if Parker realizes how good he's got it. I can't believe this guy. He's got it all. Superpowers, but no mask. A girl like Dory Evans, a bottomless wallet, and he's still too cheap to buy 2 sodas. Sure glad we could set my rate ahead of time. Of course, best friends don't always show envy, but they also complement each other and sometimes pull pranks on each other. If you read these books, you may notice how close these interactions have brought them. Considering they're both teenage superheroes, they can also relate to each other. In comparison to Harry Osborn, particularly the portrayals that we've seen in the movies or TV shows, Harry often treats Peter poorly, especially the James Franco incarnation. In the original comics, Harry was a genuinely nice guy and offered Peter a place to stay, rent-free. As Norman spent time in the hospital, not remembering his incidents with Spider-Man as Green Goblin, they've spent a good amount of time. Once Mary Jane broke up with him to flirt with Peter, that was when Harry started to envy him and take drugs. Between that, hallucinogenic experiences, and witnessing his father's death, ultimately, he became the next Green Goblin. The idea of Harry being closer to Peter, not to mention going to school with him, Sam Raimi got that from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Speaking of, the first movie was released roughly 2 years after the series debuted. But even in those books, Johnny was still a better friend. He attended Midtown High, befriended Peter, and they saved people from a burning building. Johnny and Co. helped Peter work out a clone problem he was struggling with, and after the Fantastic Four disbanded, he moved to Peter's house, dyed his hair black, and took the identity of Johnny Parker. Ever since then, they, along with Iceman, have been constantly working together in crime fighting. Some may argue that Mary Jane is another best friend of his, so the way I would see it is Mary Jane is his best female friend, as she's also his lover, and Johnny is his best male friend. Peter's relationship with him may not be as intimate as with MJ, but he does understand the life of a superhero. They're both the same age, and he can keep up with him in ways that others in his personal life may not.